Hi, beautiful divine souls. This is Lisa Falcon G with Universal Hidden Insight, and I would like to talk to everybody today about healing. Healing is something that I think everybody needs right now. And I think a lot of people, we're focusing a lot on what's currently happening in our lives and maybe what's happened over the past couple of years, the past decade. Some of us are just kind of trying to recover from what happened over the past week. So we're kind of all so busy that we don't ever really get to give ourselves the attention that we need to be able to truly do the healing work that we each need. There's a lot of things that happen to each of us, when we're younger, and what happens in our childhoods that many of us, myself included, don't necessarily want to look at deeply, can definitely shape, the person that we become. In that, if you look at kind of how you talk to yourself now, and if you look at some of the patterns that you might see in your life, whether they're great or whether they're not so great, you might see some connections. So for me, I've been trying to get to the root of this. Why do we continue to have the same situations that present themselves over and over? Why do we continue to, kind of end up in the same relationship dynamics? And a lot of it, unfortunately, kind of comes back to our relationships with our parents. So this is kind of, I guess, psychotherapy 101, really. I read an amazing book that I think I mentioned in one of the other videos called Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life. And it's a great little workbook that I think might be challenging for some people to work through because it really requires us to take a responsibility for these things that are happening to us now. Maybe not necessarily, what happened to us when we were younger. And I want to let everybody know that anything that happened to us as children, we have to be the evolution of what we came from. We don't want to continue to perpetuate any kind of bad cycles, and I think we have to allow ourselves to recognize that our parents are also kind of, teaching us what they learned from their parents, and their parents taught them what they learned from their parents. And if we have a lot of people that never truly understood love, um, that's how we end up with so many damaged people and ultimately a damaged society. So it's incredibly important, I think, if you do have children, to just recognize that it's such a huge time period in our lives, and things that might not seem like a big deal are a huge deal to children. Some of our wounds might be as little as just feeling like no one ever listened to us, or feeling as though nothing we ever did was good enough, or as big and complex as physical abuse or all the different levels of abuse that unfortunately so many people have undergone. And what happens to a lot of us after going through things like that is we unfortunately like to bring relationships into our lives that continue those trends. And really, the only way around that is to look at your internal thought patterns and look at what it is you're repeating within yourself that you learned from your parents. So what I mean by that is, if you believe that you're never going to find love, or that you're not worthy of love, um, in what way did your parents, show you that? And that's what we need to turn around. So we don't want to continue to say negative things to ourselves. Everything we heard as a child or felt as a child, that becomes our inner narrative. So I know that this is a very difficult thing for most people to look at. You're certainly not alone. It's something that I've been doing for the past couple weeks, really intensely, and I went through a lot of emotions. Um, you get angry, you cry. It's very difficult, to do this. But if you can be compassionate with yourself, and if you can try to allow those emotions to come without attaching yourself to them, and allow yourself to even express those emotions in a creative way. So, for me, painting has been something that's really helpful, or journaling. But getting some of those thoughts and feelings out, looking at trying to identify what are some of the roots of some of these patterns that continue in your life. And I'm by no means trained in psychotherapy, except in what I've studied. I do a lot of reading on healing in all aspects, so we're not just a physical body. You know, we have a mental body, we have an emotional body, we also have an energetic and spiritual body. And all of those aspects need to be addressed. So, addressing the physical, you can do that by treating your body incredibly well, loving your body. So, feeding it good food, healthy, raw, organic food. Um, that's the best place to start with that. Taking time with yourself, actually being with yourself, spending time with yourself the way that you would want somebody to spend time with you. That's very important so that you are showing yourself that self love. If you can be there for yourself, you know, through this, you're not going to be alone. And we're never truly alone, even though so many of us feel like that. If you can address the mental issues as far as just again becoming very conscious and very aware. So journaling can help that because you can kind of see what it is that you're thinking. For me, positive affirmations have really been helpful to try to reprogram my mind to say these positive things. I love and accept myself. I'm worthy of love. You know, I have a harmonious and peaceful relationship, so I have a deep well of love within me. Things like that, you know, and you can look online and you can find your own. I think it's really powerful to write your own. Um, Addressing the emotional, you know, that's one of the deepest parts, at least for me, and to anyone who's very sensitive, you know, it can be overwhelming. And I think a lot of us have built up such a tough, thick exterior that we almost can't even get into, tap into our own emotions. And we haven't done ourselves a favor in making ourselves so strong that now we can't even connect with ourselves. So it takes time to kind of soften up that outer exterior that we've built up to actually tune into yourself. And that's going to take time, and that's okay. However long it takes, it's not a one, you know, shot and you're done thing. It's something that can take years. It's something that could take, you know, maybe months. But you make progress every day, and you have to kind of look at how far you've come, and give yourself credit and celebrate where you're at now. So don't necessarily think about where you should be or, oh man, you know, everybody else is farther than me. Don't do that to yourself. Don't put yourself through that. Look at what you can do now and celebrate how strong you've become in being able to be sensitive and being able to be vulnerable. Being able to be open and vulnerable and actually really experience your feelings, that takes the greatest courage in the world. So if you can allow yourself to do that, that's tremendously healing in and of itself. It's definitely something you don't have to go through alone. It's something that you can, there's all kinds of healers that can help you. Nobody can heal you, but, you know, they can certainly help open a space that allows you to heal yourself. And if you do believe in a higher power, you can certainly commune with that and make sure that you know that you are supported. Massage can be really, really healing. Reiki, any kind of energy work. Um, Getting a better understanding of the chakra system, so our inner energetic systems. If you can have a better understanding of those and maybe kind of identify any areas where you have blocks. A lot of people have a block on their heart chakra or their root chakra. So your root chakra is your survival chakra. That's your very, very foundation. And a lot of us from childhood, especially anybody who's undergone any kind of sexual abuse or sexual assault, which is unfortunately a great, great number of women have gone through this. And to anyone who's gone through this, I want you to know that you're not alone and that you're incredibly powerful. And if we can bring ourselves out of that feeling of powerlessness, and if we can give ourselves that power back, um, that's going to kind of open up that channel, and that's going to allow us to align with the rest of the higher aspects of ourselves. So I recommend studying chakra systems, and I recommend kind of understanding where you might have a little too much energy coming out or a little too little. So I could by no means put everything into one video in regards to healing, and I'll certainly do more. Let me know if there's certain things you would like me to talk more about. I'm happy to do this. All the journeying that I've done to be able to heal within myself, I've 1,000% done with the intent that if I can do this, I can help other people do this. I promise you that it's possible. You might have fantastic, amazing days where you recognize, wow, I feel like a brand new person. And then you might have days where you feel like, wow, I just feel so lost. And that's okay. Don't take away from yourself the credit that you've come so far and you've done all this work. It's something that you're going to have to be persistent with. It's something that you're really going to have to be there with yourself through. So I appreciate everybody taking a few minutes out of your day to listen to me. And you're deeply, deeply loved. You're absolutely not alone. We're all going through this together. We're all connected. Take some time today to just be incredibly grateful for you as you are. You're beautiful. You are enough. You're deeply loved, as I said. If you'd like to check out anything else that I've done in my work, I have a great website, universalhiddeninsight.weebly.com. Until next time.